Hello and welcome, and this is Peter Nolan. This video constitutes a lawful notice to our friend Susan Wojcicki, who is also calling herself the CEO of a service called YouTube. Now I'm putting this into the public and I will address it to YouTube so that YouTube can get a hold of it and pass it along to Susan because as a lawful notice, she has a right to be given this information and nobody has a right to withhold it from her. So I'm going to take Susan, so this is addressed to you, Susan, and I'm going to do it in the public so that all my subscribers and anybody else who wants to view this video can do so. And they can make up their own minds about the crimes that you've committed, right? So you've committed 3 crimes. So as CEO of YouTube, Susan, you've committed 3 crimes. You've obstructed a peace officer in the performance of his duties. You've obstructed the path of justice, obstructed the course of justice, and you have aided and abetted known criminals continue to get away with their crimes, right? Those are the 3 crimes that you have committed, and the evidence that I'll enter in this video will prove that you've committed them. Now, when we can put a jury together, we can do a jury trial and we can present this evidence to said jury, or you can settle the matter. And at the end of this video, I will tell you how you can settle this matter. Because the aggrieved party is me, and I get to say what settles this matter. Okay? Now, I might record this in sections because it's going to be a little lengthy. So I came into my YouTube account this morning as globalmail1109 at gmail.com, and there's a video taken down. You now have 1 copyright strike. And the video in question was titled MG186 Proof of Criminality of Divorce Courts. Okay, so probably not a good video to take down, Susan. And you're responsible regardless of who took it down, right? You are going to be held accountable, not the person who took it down, right? You're responsible, and I'm going to show you why you're responsible in a little while. So this was a copyright strike. I had to go to copyright school because I'd been a bad little boy, allegedly. So I've got to go back to copyright school, despite the fact that no copyright violation has been proven against me, just a claim of a copyright violation. And we shall see how substantial that claim is in just a few minutes. So going to the next slide, it comes down here and it says video copyright strike 1, MG186, proof of criminality of divorce courts. Reason, copyright takedown request, removed by Auscript Australasia Proprietary Limited on 27th of November 2017. So, by Auscript Australasia Proprietary Limited are the people who've made a claim of copyright, not a proof of copyright, just a mere claim of copyright. And we'll see how legitimate that claim is in just a minute, right? So I did a copyright notification, review, and submit. And my contact information is put in there. I have a new Skype number in New York City, so that's cool. And my message to the claimant is, and I quote, the claimant is Auscript Australasia Proprietary Limited. They are claiming to have the right to copyright the spoken words of men and women which are spoken in a public forum. Pretty hard to claim a copyright on that. This is clearly not possible, i.e. their claim is they can go around in public places and copyright what is said between people, not what's said between them and somebody else, just what's being said between unrelated third parties they can somehow copyright, which is clearly ridiculous, right? They are claiming a third party listening to a conversation. I'm saying a third party listening to a conversation has no right to claim copyrights of the words spoken in that conversation. That should be self-evident. More importantly, I have the higher and prior claim that I reserve the right to record as video, audio, in writing, or in any way I see fit, the words spoken in any claim against me. Okay? And I swear under the penalty of perjury that I have a good faith belief that material was removed due to a mistake or misidentification of the material to be removed or disabled. No, this was not misidentification. This was a malicious, false claim, which is, of course, a criminal act, right? So I will be very interested to see what YouTube does with Ausscript Australasia having made a malicious false claim that I'm about to prove is malicious and false. Okay. Now, YouTube claims that I have to consent to the jurisdiction of the federal district court for the district in which my address is located, or if my address is outside the United States, the judicial district in which YouTube is located. I will accept service of process from the claimant. Now, of course, this is rubbish, and I don't have to accept the jurisdiction of any court. I can create my own courts, right? I understand that abuse of this form will result in termination of my YouTube account. Okay, type your full name below and submit notification, right? So they can send the claim to there if they like. Although, let's save a tree and they can send the claim to my email address, should they so wish, right? But it's going to be pretty hard for them to put this claim together because of what's on the next page. So on the next page, I've copied out the piece of documentation from the transcript where they claim that the copyright in transcript is owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. This is really interesting. Transcript Australasia. So, Susan, you want to listen closely, and perhaps you want to get yourself a lawyer who's familiar with common law and not the Uniform Commercial Code, right? Because this prosecution, if you don't settle, will be done under common law, which is superior to the Uniform Commercial Code, which is superior to any courts that you could go to, right? Copyright in transcript is owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. Interesting that Transcript Australasia, a company who has just issued a copyright violation against this transcript, is claiming that the copyright's actually owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. Transcript Australasia is not even claiming that it owns the copyright. It's claiming that the copyright is owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. Do you get that, Susan? Right? And you can go onto the video and you can have a look at it, and you can download the transcript itself and have a look at it, right? And the claim by Ausscript Australia is also, apart from any use permitted under the Copyright Act 1968, you are not permitted to reproduce, adapt, retransmit, or distribute the transcript material in any form or by any means without seeking prior written approval from the Family Court of Australia. Now, isn't this interesting, Susan? The Family Court of Australia has been proven to be a criminal organisation, and that's on video, on your channel, on your wonderful service. The Family Court of Australia has been proven to be a criminal organisation, and this criminal organisation is in league with Ausscript Australia or Ausscript Australasia, and they claim that the proof of their crimes cannot be published without seeking prior written approval from the Family Court of Australia, which is a criminal organisation. Now, obviously, a criminal organisation cannot copyright the evidence of their crimes and suppress the evidence of their crimes from being published based on the fact that they claim that the evidence of their crime is copyrighted, right? I would hope that's clear. Now, just to make it even clearer, I asked these people numerous times over, please prove to me that you own the copyright of the transcript of the words that were said in a public forum in Australia. Please prove to me how you can possibly own the copyright to the transcriptions of the words, especially when you charge a fee to provide the transcription of those words. Okay? Can you prove that to me, please? And of course, no proof was ever forthcoming, Susan. And you know, Susan, that was 2000 and was it 2000, early 2010. Early 2010, I asked Transcript Australasia to provide me the proof behind this statement. And today is the 28th of November, 2017, and to date, Transcript Australia has been unable to provide any substantiation of their claim that they own the copyright to this transcript, which represents the spoken words of people in a public forum, which they had somebody listening to and taking notes of, right? So what I'm going to say here is, yet, when I asked them to produce the paperwork that shows they have a copyright under common law, they refused to do so. Hence, they are in default. I asked them for their evidence. They didn't provide it. That's called default, Susan. You can get a lawyer to explain that to you if you like. So they are in default, and no copyright exists for the purpose of common law. They were asked for the proof of their copyright. They refused to present it. Therefore, I can presume no copyright exists as a point of common law. They are trying to say that they can copyright the words spoken by human beings as a corporation. Now, since human beings are superior in law to corporations, it is necessary for the human being to agree to the copyright, and I didn't. And indeed, I have my own copyright notice, which was served to David Dunkley and Louise Henderson. Okay? So they're out of luck, Susan, and you're out of luck too. Okay? Because you should not have taken this down. In taking this video down, you committed the crime of obstructing a peace officer in the performance of his duties, you committed the crime of obstructing justice, and you committed the crime of aiding and abetting a known criminal organization. I mean, for heaven's sake, Susan, the video was called Proof of Criminality of Divorce Courts. That's what the video was called. It should come as no surprise to you that proof of criminality cannot be copyrighted and protected under copyright by the people whose crimes are being proven. Okay? Now, if your people over there are not smart enough to know that, maybe they should talk to a lawyer before they violate my rights, right? Now, let's go down to the next one, because this is interesting. An interesting page, Susan. This video is no longer available due to a copyright claim by Auscript Australasia Proprietary Limited. This video has been taken down. Content manually detected, but what do we have here? Oh, we have the claimant's email address, which was used to commit the crime of suppressing evidence of a criminal activity, right? J. Marek, J-M-A-R-E-K, J. Marek at fortherecord.com was the person who issued the takedown request, okay? And the counter notification awaiting review, right? That's my counterclaim. So we actually have an email address of somebody over at Auscript Australasia Proprietary Limited, and whoever this somebody is, they know about this, right? They know I've asked for their proof of copyright, and they know they haven't delivered any such proof since 2010. And, you know, Susan, just so you know, the normal period given to people to provide proof of their claim is either 14 or 30 days, depending on, transmission time of letters and things like that. If it's local, the person's just down the street, 14 days is considered fine. If it's a little bit further afield, like overseas, 30 days to respond to a request for proof of claim is considered enough time to respond. 7 years, Susan, 7 years that these people have not responded to this request for their proof of claim for a copyright is well beyond 30 days. You can do the math, 30 days, 7 years, right? So even if they now claim a copyright exists, it doesn't matter because they didn't present the proof of their claim within 30 days or within a reasonable time period. So I was perfectly free to presume they had no such proof of claim as a matter of common law, right? Now, the other thing to understand here, Susan, is ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? You saying, I didn't know about this is no excuse. And in particular, it's no excuse because of what I'm about to show you next. So I just wanted to make sure that my subscribers take note of the email address jmarek@fortherecord.com, because some of my subscribers might want to write to jmarek@fortherecord.com and ask him for his proof of claim of this copyright violation. I think that would be interesting. Okay. So now Susan, I'm going to show you why you are going to be prosecuted for this crime, right? I'm going to show you why you're going to be prosecuted. And I just need to hit pause to set up for the next screen. Okay, now this might take a little while, but the reason, Susan, you are going to be prosecuted for this is this lawful notice. Okay, and you can ask Eric about it because Eric knows about this, and Eric had his people not interfere with me for 7 years, until you're interfering with me now, right? So this was a lawful notice to a human being calling himself Eric Schmidt. I believe you know him. He was at the time acting as the chief executive officer of the company commonly known as Google. You might know them, right? And it was from me, okay? And it was sent, this is the important bit, on 2010-10/06. So the 6th of October, 2010. That's 7 years ago, Susan, right? This lawful notice was sent 7 years ago. And Eric acted on it, so I know that he received it, okay? The lawful notice to Eric Schmidt with respect to unlawful interference of property for YouTube user account, Peter Nolan 1109. That was the account I was using then, okay? And I did a lawful notice. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. And I said, notice to any human being reading this, if you are not the man calling himself Eric Schmidt, this fact, Savatory, is a lawful notice issued under the common law jurisdiction of the land known as Australia. I also claim the common law jurisdiction of the land known as North America for the recipient Eric Schmidt. No other human being is authorized to deal with this communication. Eric may choose to delegate this communication, but that must be his decision only after reading this lawful notice. This is a very serious and important lawful notice that must not be ignored. Further, this is not a legal document and has nothing to do with the Law Society. Therefore, Eric is well advised not to ask the advice of a legal expert because this document has nothing to do with the legal system. This document is a lawful notice. Now, you see, Susan, the reason you're going to be prosecuted is this notice was served to Eric Schmidt, acting as chief executive officer of the company commonly known as Google, when YouTube was still very much under Eric, right? So you people at YouTube, you got email. You have the ability to communicate with each other. There's no need to be interfering with my videos based on whatever it is you say you want to interfere with my videos based on, right? So I'm going to read this into the record to make sure you, Susan, understand that this was served on Eric. And if you didn't go find out of Eric, which account should I not fiddle with, Eric? That's your problem, okay? Not my problem. I served this notice, and the notice is very public, on the record, and Eric received it and acted on it, okay? So, this is what I said to Eric Schmidt, Susan. Salutations. I extend the hand of love and peace and wish to conclude our business with the minimum of bother and fuss. I am sorry to take your time, but something of very great importance is happening that involves the company that you are CEO of, Google. You will want to know this is happening because you will be held personally liable for the actions of your employees under the common law of the land commonly known as North America. And you, Susan, will be held accountable and liable for the actions of your employees under common law, right? That's why I'm going to prosecute you. And if you complain, well, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Now, at the time, I have a YouTube account in the user ID of Peter1109. On this YouTube account, I have loaded a video recording of a public meeting with a man calling himself David Dunkley, who also refers to himself as Australian Federal Magistrate David Dunkley. This man committed crimes against me, and this video is part of the evidence of those crimes. The evidence was given to the Prime Minister of Australia, Kevin Rudd, and the Attorney General of Australia, Robert McClellan, in December 2009, with an instruction that they were to address the crimes of David Dunkley. Kevin and Robert have refused to do so for the last 10 months. And now that it's 2017, for the last 8 years, right? It is my lawful obligation, and it is also your lawful obligation, to bring to the attention of the relevant authority any crime that I or you are aware of. Okay, now, this is important, Susan. You have an obligation that when you are aware of a crime, you are required to bring that crime to the notice of the relevant authority, to the attention of the relevant authority. To witness a crime and know a crime has been committed and to remain silent is in and of itself a criminal act under common law. Given that I have made the evidence of these crimes available to both the Prime Minister and the Attorney General of Australia, and they have refused to perform their delegated duties, I have now taken the step of taking the evidence of these crimes to the highest authority in the land known as Australia, that is, the Australian people. I chose to do this by the service your company offers called YouTube. You provide the best service in this area, and I'm sure you will be pleased I selected your service for this important task. Alas, over the last week, members of your staff for whom you are responsible have marked these videos as rejected content inappropriate. I have attempted to communicate with your staff, and they are not willing to respond to me, it seems. I am acting in good faith and honestly believe my question as to why my videos have been marked inappropriate has been received by your organisation, and that whoever received the question refused to respond. I believe that your staff have acted in good faith and honestly believe that whoever is asking for them to remove these videos has the authority to do so. I have no issue with you or your staff or your service. I really like YouTube and I really like Google. Please keep up the good work. I want to draw your attention to the lawful status of these videos and your obligations and penalties with respect to the lawful status of these videos. I have completed a claim of right which has been agreed by non-response by your Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. Yes, she is the Queen of the US as well. A part of that claim of right is the following claim. Quote, and this is accepted, Susan. This is accepted by your Queen. Nothing you can do about this. Quote, furthermore, I claim the right to deal with any counterclaims or disputes publicly and in an open forum using discussion and negotiation, and to capture as electronic video and sound said discussion and negotiation for whatever lawful purposes as I see fit. Okay? So I said, I have the right, and this is accepted, to capture as electronic video and sound said discussion and negotiation for whatever lawful purposes I see fit, which is the video that you have taken down. Now, further, the transcript is a transcript of the words that are recorded on the electronic video and sound. Okay? The person most appropriate to own the claim for what is being said, if it could be possible to copyright the spoken word in a public place, would therefore be me, right? Having taken the video. And there's one other thing I want to add here, Susan. Transcript Australasia I asked for a transcript of what was said in the courtroom to save me the trouble of typing it up. They charged me money for this transcript. When the first transcript arrived, it was complete lies. Okay, Susan, I have that transcript. It was complete lies. The transcript was falsified by Transcript Australasia, which is clearly a criminal act, right? I wrote back to Transcript Australasia and said, I have read your transcript. It is false. I would like to inform you that I have a video recording of this meeting, so you might like to review your transcript and send me the transcript that reflects the words that were spoken in the court meeting. And Auscript Australia then turned around and wrote another transcript and sent that to me. So, Susan, Transcript Australasia has been caught falsifying transcripts, a criminal act. Okay? These criminals that you just aided and abetted were caught out producing false transcripts and then decided to send me not a true transcript. The transcript that I published is not true. It's just a little less false. Okay? So clearly, given that I claim, and I'll read it again, I claim the right to deal with any counterclaims or disputes publicly and in an open forum using discussion and negotiation, and to capture as electronic video and sound said discussion and negotiation for whatever lawful purposes as I see fit. And one of those lawful purposes as I saw fit was to get a transcript of that spoken word to publish. Okay? Can't possibly be copyrighted. And if Transcript Australasia claims that they can copyright it, well, you should have asked them for proof of that claim before you took down my video and aided and abetted a known criminal organization. I mean, I said it right in the video that they were criminal. Now, this claim of right, I am told, was communicated to David Dunkley prior to this business meeting, and he was made the offer of cancelling this business meeting or allowing a prior magistrate to deal with it. Since David chose to conduct his business meeting over my non-consent and commit the common law crime of theft against me, he chose those actions and must be held accountable for those actions. Should you believe you have the authority to deny me the wonderful services of your company in taking the news of these crimes to the highest authority in the land called Australia, please send a certified fax back to the email address above explaining your position. Okay? Now remember, this is October 2010. Eric Schmidt was asked, should you believe you have any authority to deny me the wonderful services of your company in taking the news of these crimes to the highest authority in the land called Australia, please send a certified fax back to the mail address above explaining your position. I received no such fax. Eric made no such claim, i.e., Eric Schmidt accepted that in the case of proof of criminal activity, he had no authority to deny me the wonderful services the wonderful services of his company to take that news to the highest authority in the land called Australia. Now, I said to Eric, you will need to respond on an affidavit under penalty of perjury and full commercial liability. This is because my claim of right was signed under common law jurisdiction under penalty of perjury and full commercial liability. So, to rebut my claim, your document must be issued under the same jurisdiction and same liabilities. I will reflect the affidavit back to your fax number above so that no third party can do so fraudulently. So having an acknowledgement if he sent me any such affidavit. Now, I then said, and this is important, Susan, because I said it to the CEO of Google, I said, should you mistakenly believe that the quote authorities, end quote, of the company called the Commonwealth of Australia have any right to deny the presentation of this video to the highest authority, the Australian people? I assure you they do not. I will copy to you a letter I wrote to the Prime Minister of Australia of the company called the Commonwealth of Australia, the Prime Minister of the company called the Commonwealth of Australia, and I sent that letter. I can assure you that the company called the Commonwealth of Australia is nothing more than a registered legal entity on the US Securities and Exchange Commission, and that it is most certainly not a sovereign nation and most certainly has no jurisdiction in common law. This too has been accepted by Queen Elizabeth II, the Prime Minister of Australia at the time, Kevin Rudd, the Governor General of Australia, the Attorney General of Australia, Australia meaning the Commonwealth of Australia in those sentences. Since the people in these offices have agreed that they have no jurisdiction over me or my property, none of their so-called law enforcement or policy enforcement servants can have any such authority. I went on to say, should your company be further requested to interfere with the dissemination of this critical information to the Australian people, I would ask your company to inform me as to who are the individuals interfering with my property so that I may lawfully and peacefully communicate with them and ask them to provide an affidavit signed under penalty of perjury and full commercial liability as to their claim they have any authority to interfere with my property being displayed on your servers. I would also suggest that be aware that you have an obligation to also request from anyone who claims they have any lawful right to interfere in the business agreement between your company and my juristic person for an affidavit signed under penalty of perjury and full commercial liability. You should ask them for that. This email address has made this claim. You should be asking them to give you a claim that they have the lawful right to interfere in the business between your company and my juristic person. You should be asking them for that. Now, the company called the Commonwealth of Australia is a third-party interloper in the business agreement between your company and my juristic person. The representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia have no lawful right under common law or Uniform Commercial Code to interfere in our business relationship. None at all. Should you fail in your obligation to obtain from the representatives of the Commonwealth of Australia said affidavit relaying it to me and continue to block my content, I will hold you personally liable under common law for not living up to your contract you offered me to place videos onto your servers. Since Google is very rich, I can assure you I will convene a common law de jure jury and tell them whatever money they fine your company for doing this will be given to young boys. I hope the de jure jury will make a remedy instruction in line with the wealth of your company and the need of young boys around the world. Simply put, you have lawful obligations that you chose to enter into by offering your service, presenting your terms of service, and my accepting your offer. These terms of service are offered in conjunction with common law as I'm claiming common law jurisdiction. So Eric, and now by extension you, Susan, my suggestion to you is this. I suggest you, one, find out who it is in your organization who is marking my videos inappropriate content. 2, tell them to cease and desist. 3, find out who it is who is asking for your staff to commit a crime. 4, tell them that they are not welcome to be inciting your staff to commit crimes by deceit. And 5, tell them if they have an issue with the videos I have placed on YouTube, they should talk to me directly and not hide like the cowards they are. If you doubt my seriousness, if you think I am a man to be trifled with, please be aware I am putting a family court judge on trial in Ireland, 2 magistrates in Australia, as well as my ex-wife. I am working with men to bring the rule of law back into Australia and Ireland. Many of your staff will also benefit from my work because I am putting an end to the tyranny of the family courts all around the former British Empire, including the US. And I would stop here, Susan, and say, isn't it interesting that since this time, Eric Schmidt himself was screwed over to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars in the exact same family law courts I was trying to defend him from? Isn't that interesting? Since you have men working for you in many former British Empire colonies, you will be doing these men enormous service by assisting me in this matter. The family law is vastly biased against men around the world. This is unlawful and it must be ended. You can play your part and assist your fellow men by helping me bring the rule of law to Australia and Ireland and end the tyranny of the family courts in the Western world. Millions of men will thank you for doing this. So all my subscribers and hopefully Megto 101 and others will pass this video around and realize that Eric Schmidt was asked to help us. YouTube, the CEO of YouTube, a very wealthy man, was asked to help us merely by doing nothing at all, right? Just leave things alone, stop suppressing evidence of crimes. That'd be enough, right? And Eric Schmidt did very little to help us. He did actually not allow that video to be taken down anymore. That video still stands to this day. And then Eric Schmidt was taken to the cleaners in the very divorce courts we were trying to protect all men from and would have protected him from if he'd have given us a hand. And I think that is really kind of karma. So I think I hope a lot of Megtos will see this video. Then I went on to say, in my opinion, the best approach is to take the approach, I want no part of this problem, deal with this yourselves, by leaving my video up and allowing it to be seen, right? Now, ASIO in Australia, the Australia Security and Intelligence Organisation, has blocked this video into Australia for many years now. But YouTube, for your part, have not taken the video of the actual video from inside the divorce court down. But now you have taken a video down and issued a copyright strike against the transcript of the video, right? Which you can't do. That's a crime, okay? I concluded with saying, because I am perfectly willing to bring a common law case against you personally, should you not ensure that your employers not infringe my common law rights, I am also perfectly willing to tell men that when you are offered a chance to be a strong stand for the reintroduction of the rule of law for Ireland and Australia and for the tyranny of the vastly biased family courts to be ended, that you failed your fellow men. Well, now we know. Right now, everyone's going to know, all Megtos are going to know, that Eric Schmidt, when asked to help men defend themselves from the family law courts, said, no, I don't want to do that, and then later was dragged through the family law courts himself. And to this day, Eric Schmidt has done nothing about the crimes being committed in the family law courts, right? We all know that. Everyone will know that now. I didn't publish this lawful notice at the time, but I'm publishing it now. So I said, if you do that, all my lawful notices will be made public. So as well as acting according to the common law that you are subject to, you might consider acting consistently with how you wish to be perceived by your fellow men. And I said, Eric, censorship is the primary tool of tyrants. I suggest you do no evil and do not engage in censorship in something so important as to bringing to the ultimate authority in Australia, the Australian people, evidence of crimes being committed by the Australian legal fraternity. I look forward to your full cooperation and assistance in this very important task. And I signed it. And after this notice was sent to Eric Schmidt, the video that I kept loading up was no longer taken down. The channel was eventually taken down by some useless person over at YouTube, but I simply put that video up on another channel, what is now my Global Man channel, and reissued this notice to Eric Schmidt saying, now I'm on Global Man, right? Don't let people take this video down. And that video has remained up ever since. Okay, now we'll just go over to my channel and show the video in question. Okay, so here we are on my channel with the video in question. This is the one with captions. So what some people said to me was, the audio is very low. Is it at all possible, let me just move this down a little bit. Is it at all possible to put captions on the video so that we can see what's being said, even though we can't hear what's being said? We believe that it's being said, but the audio happens to be low and the transcript happens to be available, right? So this was put up on with the captions, was put up on the 1st of December 2014 on this channel, right? So Eric has done the right thing by not allowing his staff to take this video down. So Susan, Eric is well aware of the importance of this particular video in proving the criminality of the family law courts in Australia thence other countries, and improving the criminality of the Australian government thence other countries in exactly the same way, right? So that's the video in question, which has not been taken down, but the transcript has been taken down. Okay, the video containing the snippet of the transcript has been taken down. So now I just want to round out with this. Let me come back to here, Susan. This email address, jmarek@fortherecord.com. Okay, let's just go look at For the Record. Okay, so here we are at fortherecord.com, court solutions, etc. Okay, now For the Record would appear to be a, let's have a look, company. We go over here, For the Record company. So For the Record as a company would appear to be a different company to Auscript Australia, right? Would appear to be. So we'll just go down through here. It says, our group of global companies, including Auscript and its subsidiaries, has served courts for more than 4 centuries, okay, with more than 27,000 installations across 62 countries and 20 million recording hours per week and billions of transcribed words. So For the Record is claiming to be the owner of Auscript, okay? Wow, these are going to be very deep pockets, okay? Very deep pockets indeed. So For the Record is claiming to be the owner of Auscript Australasia. Okay, so just that we'd sort that out. Let's just go down here and click on Auscript. We'll see where that takes us. Okay, so this is auscript.com. Court transcripts for civil and family matters across England and Wales. Well, need to click on the Australian one. Auscript Australia. Since 1921, Auscript have recorded and transcribed court matters as they happen. Okay. We same-day deliver transcripts to clients globally, including court, law firms, government, business, and media. Right. So I'm going to send this link to this gentleman. Let me bring this up. This jmarek@fortherecord.com. I'm going to send a link to this video to him, and I'm going to say to you, jmarrick at fortherecord.com, your company is a criminal organization who has been proven to falsify transcript records, and I've got the proof of that. Now, I think I should publish the proof of that. What do you think, jmarrick at fortherecord.com? Do you think I should publish on my channel the transcript that your people sent to me, which was complete baloney and didn't at all reflect what was in the audio and visual recording? Do you think I should do that? Or are you going to claim to me that this transcript that your people delivered to me, that I paid for good money for, are you going to claim to me that this transcript, which proves beyond all reasonable doubt that you guys are a bunch of lying scumbags and will falsify transcripts for your own benefit, do you think that I should publish this information and spread this information around as far and wide as I can, Mr. J. Marrick at fortherecord.com? Because I think that sounds like a really good idea. I think it sounds like a really good idea to take that first transcript that was produced and read it into the public record, and then read the second transcript that was produced and let people judge the quality of your transcription services based on those two transcripts. I think that would be a really good idea. Don't you, Mr. J. Marrick at fortherecord.com? Talk about no credibility. So, Susan, back to this point, right? This J. Marrick at fortherecord.com is claiming ownership, copyright of the spoken words between unrelated third parties in a public forum, which, as you saw from the notice to Eric Schmidt, I had a prior claim. The prior claim was from 2009, a month before the family court meeting, October 2009. So I had the prior claim that anything that I can do, let's go over to it again. Here we are. This is my claim, which was agreed to by your queen. Furthermore, I claim the right to deal with any counterclaims or disputes publicly and in an open forum using discussion and negotiation, and to capture as electronic video and sound said discussion and negotiation for whatever lawful purposes as I see fit. Right? I claim the right to do that. If somebody else records that information on their dime, their time, they can say, yeah, well, we own those words, but we can't really copyright them because this was a conversation held in public. And if we then try and sell those words, kind of hard to say, well, we own the copyright on what was said in public. For what reason? Oh, just that we typed them up. Okay. So doesn't really work, does it, Susan? Okay. So let's just go back to this. And remember, For the Record, the company For the Record, who is now claiming that they are the owners of this copyright, okay? For the Record is claiming they own the copyright, claiming they own Auscript Australasia, and yet Auscript Australasia said on the transcript, copyright in transcript is owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. Okay, so Transcript Australasia themselves claim the transcript is owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. And the Commonwealth of Australia is a uniform commercial code legal entity registered on the US Securities and Exchange Commission, which cannot possibly copyright the words of human beings, being an inferior abstraction and creation as a part of a legal system, not even a part of a lawful system, right? So, Transcript Australasia said in 2010, apart from any use permitted under the Copyright Act of 1968, So they're claiming that the Commonwealth of Australia owns a transcript, and they're claiming the Copyright Act of the Commonwealth of Australia to protect this transcript, right? You are not permitted to reproduce, adapt, readapt, or distribute the transcript material in any form by any means without seeking prior approval from the Family Court of Australia, a known criminal enterprise. Okay? So, Susan, you're in a difficult position. You've committed 3 crimes: obstructing a peace officer in the performance of his duties, obstruction of justice, and aiding and abetting known criminals commit the crime of hiding the evidence of the criminal activities, right? You have helped criminals hide the proof of their criminal activities. You have aided and abetted known criminals. And if you claim, well, I didn't know I was doing that, please remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse. And remember, in the chair called CEO, you're responsible for what your employees do. Okay? So I said early in this video that I would say towards the end how to make remedy. Okay? How could you, Susan, remedy the crimes that you just committed against me? Okay? Me personally, right? Because I published the evidence of these crimes and you remove them. Your staff, for sure, but CEO, that comes with responsibility for everything your staff does. So, what do I want from you to settle this matter? Now, I'm going to be very fair and reasonable, unlike all the women that you support in the family law courts, Susan. As CEO of YouTube and as a very high-profile feminist and female figure in the tech community, you've never said that women should get equal sentencing. Isn't that strange? In fact, when you were interviewed and you were asked what forms of, sexual kind of bias or discrimination have you faced in Silicon Valley, when you were asked that question, you said, well, sometimes I'm cut off when I'm speaking. Sometimes I'm interrupted when I'm speaking. In your lifetime in the IT business, because you've been in Google for a long time, and your lifetime in the IT business, the worst example you can come up with of sexual discrimination in the workplace is somebody interrupted you, right? That's the worst thing you can come up with. And yet you have just put down the memory hole, proof positive of the criminality of the Australian family law courts. That's what you did, right? You put down the memory hole, proof positive of the criminality of the Australian family law courts, and your biggest complaint about sex-based discrimination you've experienced in your lifetime in Silicon Valley is, well, sometimes people cut me off or interrupt me when I'm talking. Really? Perhaps you should go and have a chat to Eric and ask him how he feels about the divorce court settlement that he had to endure. Perhaps you should go ask Eric about that. So, what do I want, Susan? What do I want for you to settle? Isn't this an interesting question? You know what I want, Susan? I want 3 things for you to settle. And if you don't settle with me, I will do everything I can to prosecute you in a common law court for the crimes you've committed, and we'll let the jury decide how to settle. And the jury that I'm going to select for this court case will be 12 men who've been criminally abused in the family law courts. Because we know that the family law courts are completely fair, and that just because 12 men have been through the family law courts, that would not bias their views in any way, shape, or form. We know that, don't we, Susan? So 3 things I want from you, okay? 1, I want $3. $1 for each US dollars, $1 US for each crime you committed as proof that you accept and understand that you committed these crimes. Okay? Obviously, $3 is neither here nor there, but the symbolic value of the $3 is $1, you admitting and accepting and understanding that you committed crimes, and you are paying me $1 in compensation for each of those crimes. That's number one I want. Now, I'm pretty sure, Susan, that if we take this to a jury of 12 men who've been given the wonderful services of these family law courts, I'm pretty sure they're going to find significantly more than $3 as a remedy. But you can take the chance, right? It's up to you. I believe in freedom of choice. You can pay me $3, or you can face a jury not of your peers, but of men who've been visited the wonderful services of your family law courts. Number two, I want my video put back up, right? And I don't want you or anyone else at YouTube interfering with any of my videos ever again, okay? I'm pretty sick and tired of you women refusing to engage in discussion on these very important issues and instead engaging in censorship on these very important issues. You are CEO of YouTube. You will agree or face prosecution for these crimes that your people will stop interfering with my channel. Okay? You can afford it. And three, the number three thing that I want, and this is where it gets interesting. The number three thing I want from you, Susan, to settle this matter is I want you to make a nice short video. You've made 2 short videos, and quite frankly, you've been absolutely hammered in your videos, right? Your dislikes outnumber your likes 9-1. You're a very unpopular person, Susan, particularly among men. You're a very unpopular person, but I have the solution for you. I have the remedy for you. I have the way of making you a very popular woman with the men. Okay? And this is, this is number 3. And what I want from you to settle this matter, and if you're not willing to do it, you'll go before a jury of men who've had the wonderful services of these fair and just and unbiased family law courts visited on them. Okay? You will face that jury of 12 men, or you will give me what I'm asking for. Okay? So number 3, Susan. Number 3 is this. You will make a public statement saying, quote, I support equal sentencing for women for the same crimes as men. I support the prosecution of women who commit perjury or make false allegations against men. End quote. So let me repeat that for you. You might not know how to use the rewind button on your own technology. The third part is you will say, I demand and insist on equal sentencing for women criminals for the same crime as men, and I support the prosecution of women who commit the crime of perjury or make false allegations against men. I want you to say that in public. Okay, Susan? I want you to stand up and show all the men who use your service, your wonderful service, just exactly what you mean by equality. Okay? And if you're not willing to stand up and say, you think women should get the same sentencing as men, and you think women who make false allegations against men should be prosecuted, if you're not willing to say that in public, if you're not willing to reinstate my videos and stop fiddling with my channel, and if you're not willing to give me $3 admitting the 3 crimes that you committed, we will put this matter to a jury of men who've had the wonderful services of the family law courts visited upon them. And those 12 men can decide what remedy you're going to pay me. And I rather think those 12 men might be just that little bit disgruntled and might be far less forgiving than me at the rate of $3, stop fiddling with my videos and make a plain statement about equality before the law. I rather think they might be a little bit less forgiving than that. Okay. Now, that's just on an hour. Very interesting video. I hope you liked it, Susan, and I hope all my subscribers like it. And for all my subscribers, please copy this, download it, and replicate it wherever you like. Give lots of men links to it. We are going to make an issue of this, okay? So by all means, gentlemen, let's put this about and make an issue of it. With that, thank you very much for listening, and bye for now.